If you are working in a job that has you living in a persistent state of burnout, quit. Burnout is affecting the quality of your life. You are single because you're burnt out. Your marriage is on the rocks because you're burnt out. You are not thriving because you are burnt out. Forget the company that you work for. And the actual physiological things that are happening to you, spiked cortisol levels, high anxiety, fatigue, or complete insomnia that you have been hiding. And this will ring like truth to your chakra, your abag, call it what you want. It's time for you to come out. It's time for you to stop hiding. It's time for you to answer the calling. And you will not be settled, and you will not move away from the human anguish that is burnout until you do that exact thing. Henson, lifestyle design coach, goal strategist, and corporate culture consultant. This is the Uncultured Podcast, where we talk about the ins and outs of corporate culture and what it means to have a human-centered corporate culture that truly matters. And that is transformational, both inside and out, for the people that are working inside the company and for those that would be buying from said company. I actually, in the last episode, talked about a message that I got from someone who saw something in the Monday.com newsletter, if that comes to their inbox, and they sent it to me and said, I thought about you and the work that you do, and it got me to thinking. So I want to share with you what it got me thinking about. But first, I'm going to read it to you so that you can know what it is that I'm talking about. So here we go. From the phone. Wellness from Monday.com newsletter is what it is. Here's the title: Meditation rooms won't solve employee burnout. So true. Do you have a meditation room at your company? We should talk about that. That's not in the writing. A burnt out employee can cost an organization $21,000 per year in lost productivity, according to a new study from the American Journal of Preventive Medicine. While many organizations have implemented surface level solutions like meditation rooms, yoga classes, and company vacations, HR professionals note that these one-size-fits-all approaches fail to address root causes. Instead, talent experts point to recognition as a leading way to combat burnout. The simple act of appreciation shows measurable results. Here we go. Employees at organizations that invest in recognition are 73% less likely to experience frequent burnout, according to WorkHumans research. As burnout costs become increasingly tangible, experts emphasize that moving beyond superficial fixes is essential. This is the part that I think the entire crux of my work rests on. As burnout costs become increasingly tangible, experts emphasize that moving beyond superficial fixes is essential. I always tell my clients, my corporate culture consulting clients, and really business development, brand development, it's part of the work that we do. But I physically always tell them that your next $1 million idea, $1 billion idea even, is inside the mind of your most uninvested employee. It is inside the mind of the person that quit on you 5 years ago and you have no idea. So today I want to talk to you as the employee about this thing, and I really want to pose a lot of questions for you to think about and challenge some of these things. First, I want to start with a sweeping declaration. You deserve a life that is better than living in a state of burnout. You do not deserve to live your life in a state of burnout. If you are burnt out and you know that it's a direct correlation to the job that you are working, quit your job tomorrow. Yes, I know you have bills legally. Please, here's my disclaimer. Do not send me your mortgage or any other bills associated with your name. I have my own bills to pay. I will not pay them. So you take this advice that is really my opinion with a grain of salt, however you want to. But if you are working in a job that has you living in a persistent state of burnout, quit tomorrow. Why? I'm going to talk to you about you first. Because this affects the company in the ways that this article or this newsletter reads. That you as an employee being burnt out means that you are not showing up as your best self. Let's talk about the company first then. You're not showing up as your best self. If you're not showing up as your best self, then your air quotes productivity is not happening in the most efficient way, which means that you're billing more hours for work that could have been done probably in half the time if you were feeling at your best. So the challenge with coming and functioning burnt out inside of your job is that you're costing the company money. What's wild to me is that this newsletter suggests that somehow the company would know. How would they know? You're so smart, and I know it. I know that you're so smart. You are so intelligent. You know that you know how to do enough for there not to be anybody going, "Hey, are you okay? Hey, where's this report? Hey, were you able to get done? Hey, I'm circling back." Whatever bugs you about the way somebody follows up with you, you know exactly how to do just enough to avoid that moment. So I'm saying that to say, when I tell my clients that your next money or your $1 million, $1 billion is inside the mind of your most uninvested employee, I mean it from that lens. I don't think that they would know because the most brilliant people are the ones that go silent first. 100%. It's a fool's errand to continuously try, 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 try. So somebody who is maybe talented will keep doing, but the brilliant people, nah, man. Tell them no once. Tell them that they can do something and then show them that they cannot do something one time. That's it. Especially, let's say that you as an employee, you left the job to come to this job and they do the same old thing. Honey, no. Triggered. Triggered and no. It's a no, right? And I'm asking you rhetorically and being kind of funny about it, but I already know the answer. You brilliant human, you are aware that you do not have to deploy your brilliance any old where. You are aware of that. And so while you will stay to collect the paycheck because that is comfortable in what you're going to do, the company they'll never know. They will never know. So this newsletter, it's talking about the tangible cost of burnout. I'm telling companies there's an intangible cost that you cannot measure because you'll never know. You will never know. You'd have to track the life cycle of every single employee that leaves your door and assume that they're going to land in the exact right place for them. It's like football, right? Like you have a quarterback who like he sucks at one team. He's in one team, he sucks. All the same players, same fields, same conditions, same whatever. Same quarterback gets let go, goes to a new team, accelerates. Completely accelerates because he has that 1 degree of consideration. They have that 1 degree of consideration, that one thing that makes them feel just that much more comfortable. And that's how they accelerate. Every employee is exactly that way. They need the conditions that will allow them to flourish and accelerate. And if companies are not providing those circumstances, then you won't. In this case, you're not putting points on a board. So, you're not like missing passes or whatever. You can, in fact, do just enough as an employee for nobody to notice that you're not living up to your full potential inside this company. So it sucks for them, like honestly. And I mean, again, I'm being, lighthearted about it, but I feel for people that are not investing well in their employees and then in the culture of their companies because I know what it's costing them and they don't. Because the benefit of doing the work that I do is I create an environment where employees can talk to me. Like for real, talk to me and tell me what's honestly going on because I have this mediative kind of capacity where I get to watch the bridge get built between employees and those in the higher level, in the upper levels, so that the leaders can lead more effectively. And so I kind of translate, right? So I get to understand the heart of the leader, plural, and then I translate to that to the employees at whatever level, whether that's I'm talking to the CEO and I'm translating from vice president down or vice level down, or director level down, or and then vice versa. I get to really understand the heart of the employees at all levels so that I can communicate that up and then create and facilitate an actual bridge so that things can be different. So that people that think they didn't have permission to do something now know that they do, and the other way around. And so I get to live in this really cool world where I get to talk to both sides and create that bridge. I'm saying that to say, I know, I know you're not giving it all. I know you're not giving it all. If you have been rejected in your workplace, I know you're not giving it all. I won't tell them because I don't know where you work at the moment, but d- I know you're not giving it all. So the company is losing on a scale they cannot imagine. So this that says increasingly tangible. Mm-mm. The impact to the bottom line of the company by having employees just existing inside of their ecosystem is completely intangible. There's no way. There's no way to measure it because you would have to know and make space for the actual brilliance of every single person on your staff. And most companies are not equipped to do that. They could, they totally could. And I advocate that they should, but they don't by and large, right? Like when was the last time your manager asked you, "Hey, what was the last brilliant thing you discussed, you thought about in your own mind?" I'd love to flush that out with you. Hey, I'm going to allocate some money in the budget for you to work through that idea that you came to me with last week. What do you think about that? Hey, I'm going to give you some space in a lab to just work through this stuff, like just to give you space to flush out this idea. Yeah, don't worry about your regular responsibilities. We will move those around to people that really excel at those things. But right now, I'd love to see what happens when your mind doesn't have a limit and you are backed, funded, and supported. Some of the stuff will work, some of it won't. Should they do that? Yeah. Yeah. And until companies start investing in their employees in that way, and it's not always financial, one of the things I advocate for deeply is creating an environment where where you get the opportunity to consider what you want to do with your life. What interests you? What means something to you? What do you really value? And but even more than that, what is it that makes you tick? Like when you think about the next 15 years of your life, what could you do at this company that would give you meaning? That's the stuff that allows employees to show up as their best, brightest selves. And so until companies start doing that level of investing, it's only ever going to be but so good. There are some companies that probably wouldn't have closed their doors had they made space for their employees in this way. And I said it before, I'll say it again. Companies are really creating a company is about solving a problem for people that you're air quotes like selling things to, but more than that, it's about taking care of the people that come under your charge, and those are your employees. If you are not equipped, this is for anybody that's entrepreneurial in nature, if you're not equipped to take care of people, do not start that business, please. Please don't. Please be a one person consultation forever, but don't start a business where you plan to hire people and create space for the office space and the whole bit and to and think that you're going to go in there and be a dictator. You will be entering the realm of caring for people, and that is something you've got to reckon with before you go in to do it. And again, if you know that that's not your strong suit, that's okay. Hire somebody immediately to take care of your employees, like immediately, as soon as you can. And also, like be real with the people that you're hiring. If that's like a short area for you, be real with them. Like, hey, listen, I'm not great at this. Here's kind of how I communicate. Um, Maybe even here's my Clifton Strengths test. And so here are some things that you should know about me. I don't mean any harm. I really don't. I might not be great at showing it. And then also, if you're going to start a company and take care of people, but you know that you're not necessarily excelling at taking care of folks at this moment, and you can't hire a second person to do that for you, put in your calendar quarterly things to do for your entire team, and it better not be a pizza party. The next company that I do work with that talks to me about doing a pizza party, we're breaking up as client and consultant. I'm being ridiculous, but pizza, nobody cares about eating pizza from you for free. Also, everybody else touched it, and that's disgusting. But anyway, so now let's talk about what it looks like for you to live in burnout just for yourself. We've talked about what it looks like for the company to have a quadre or 5 burnt out employees. Listen, a company with 20 employees, 5 of your employees being burnt out, your company is not even close to what it could be. Period. Full stop. Period. So solving burnout, it's a culture problem. Burnt out, overworked, tired employees is a culture problem. And there's a mismatch in who you say you are and how you are being that as an entity. So let's talk about how it affects you as a person. When you are operating inside of burnout, you are tired, you are flustered, you are cranky, you are antisocial, or you're too social. There's not really a lot of in between. You are looking for a way out always and perpetually. You're never quite settled. You are feeling frustrated and sometimes slightly aggressive. You have an attitude with people that had nothing to do with whatever happened at work that day and whatever. And you don't have the coping skills to deal with it. And you start saying, I'm just cranky. This is just how I am. This attitude is who I am. And you start identifying with your burnout. Listen, that is not for you. And you will avoid any opportunity to go through a process that actually leads you to healing because now you think it's attached to part of your personality. I'm telling you, you cannot exist in a personality of burnout. Your personality of burnout is affecting your personal life. You are single because you're burnt out. Your marriage is on the rocks because you're burnt out. You are not thriving because you are burnt out. That burnout is affecting the quality of your life. Forget the company that you work for. Forget that. The anguish and the actual physiological things that are happening to you spiked cortisol levels, high anxiety, fatigue in some cases, or complete insomnia, not being able to sleep at all, right? One of those things, or some combination of those things, it plagues your life. It plagues your life. You either eat too much or you forget to eat at all. When you do eat, you are choosing comfort foods. And so you are struggling with weight gains and losses. You are struggling with keeping weight on. You are over connected to the gym because that's the only place of respite that you have. You are functioning in extremes, one way or the other, because you are burnt out and trying to find your way back to middle by implementing all of these external things. But there is no way to mitigate the personality that comes with burnout without first addressing the thing that is burning you out. Otherwise, every single day, you are operating from a place of being fully empty and trying to find a way to be filled. And that's why you're operating at extremes. You living in a state of burnout does not equal what you are getting paid, period. There's no amount of money that should be able to convince you that your life should exist in these extremes and exist in this state of lack and survival mode. There's no amount of money. There's no amount of money. There's no amount of money that should dictate that for you. Having a full schedule is not the same thing as being busy. What it does do is create a role for you that says, if I am not feeling this familiar burnout, I am not really living well. And so you chase after the burnout after a while. If you've been living in the state of burnout long enough, you are now chasing the feeling and calling it productivity. No. First and foremost, productivity only matters if you are doing activities in the direction of the thing that really does feed you and put you in the direction of your calling. Some people would say, oh, your calling doesn't have to be the thing that you work on. Well, yeah. And also, shouldn't it be? Shouldn't you be able to spend the majority of your time working on the thing that you were created for? And when you are working, that's what you're doing. You're spending the majority of your time on something. When you get in alignment with what it is that you were put here to do, that whole calling thing, that whole purpose thing, once you get in alignment with that and you're spending the majority of your time working on that, you are no longer working from burnout. You still have a full schedule. You still have things to do. You still have tasks to execute. You may have an 8 to 10 hour day, but it doesn't create burnout. You might get tired. You're a human. You should get tired. That's a thing. But burnout is something different, right? And that's why it's so costly to companies because this is human anguish personified. Burnout is human anguish personified. It just is. It breaks up marriages. It messes up relationships with children and parents. It messes up the life you're meant to have by continuing to exist in a state of burnout. So, yes, you show up to work, you give them whatever you feel like giving them that day or whatever you have to give that day, and it is never your best from a state of burnout. And listen, that vacation, that little 4 days, child, please. If you are living in a state of burnout, that 4 days on the beach is not going to solve your problem. It's just going to give you enough energy to get back in and trick yourself that you're fine for a week. Maybe not even that long. 1 week, I give it. 1 week to every 4 days you go away, be all right for a week. It's not worth that. No paycheck is worth that, particularly when you can choose how you make your money. Now, for some people, this always leads to the point of entrepreneurship. Oh, I'm just going to go out here and start my own business. Listen, that's got its own headaches. And when you're just starting, it's got its own version of potential burnout. Because unless or until you are operating inside of the work that you were meant to do, which I would call your calling or your purpose, it's all going to feel just like a bit burnt out at some point. So how do you do this? 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 We obviously need more time, a full masterclass and about 3 books to be able to get to the how you do this. But suffice it to say, it is enough right now for you to identify that it's true for you. I am burnt out. I've been struggling, working, trying, striving. I've been mistreated. I have been put down. I haven't been promoted. I've been overlooked. My ideas have been put on the back burner. I don't have enough space at my job. I don't feel like I can fully be myself and walk in my authenticity. I don't even know what my authenticity is. This is burnout. I'm describing it for you. It is burnout is human anguish personified. It is the internal writhing that just comes out into your body. And let me tell you something else. Burnout is nothing more than a form of stress that can lead to illness. You get sick easily, your immune system is affected because you are putting stress on it that it cannot handle. You working out, but you're not losing weight, your cortisol levels are too high. And your body can't fight against that when they stay high because it's in a perpetual state of stress because of burnout. Burnout is human anguish personified, period. No two ways about that. And you don't deserve that. My whole point in getting to all of this is that you deserve better. You deserve better. And so if you are attached to a company that is creating a situation where you cannot escape the human anguish of burnout, it's time for you to leave. It's time for you to quit, which is why I start from this premise of you should really quit your job. I'm always going to start there. You can talk yourself into or out of, believing that that's true, but start from the premise. Maybe, I'm burnt out. I should really quit my job. Now what's true? There's another way for you to make money. What is it? There's somewhere else you can go to work. Cause like another way for you to make money, I'm not telling you to go write an ebook. That's like, don't do that. I'm not telling you to try to get big on YouTube. Don't do that either. Go get a different job. If right now what feels best to you is working inside of a company, cool. Now, I have to say this as a disclaimer. There are a section of you that are completely hiding inside of your corporate job, avoiding the calling that you do feel to start something of your own. You're hiding. You're hiding. You're hiding. I know you're hiding. It's okay. I know you're hiding. And this is not a condemnation. This is a calling out. I'm just calling you out. It's time. If that's you, if you know that you have been hiding and this is not the first time you've thought that or heard that, this will ring like truth inside of your sternum, okay? Truth to your chakra, your abba, call it what you want. This will ring like truth. It's time for you to come out. It's time for you to stop hiding. It's time for you to answer the calling. And you will not be settled and you will not move away from the human anguish that is burnout until you do that exact thing. Now, for some of you, you're like, I don't need to start nothing. I don't feel that. Great. That doesn't mean you stay burnt out. It means you find a different job under the criteria that you are learning by listening to this show. What does a good corporate culture look like for you? And what do you authentically have to offer inside of that good corporate culture? So that means you need to be clear on your vision, your mission, your brand statement. You need to be clear on who you are authentically so that you know and can articulate what it is that you have to offer into the next company where you go to give your time, your effort, and your energy. Hey, thanks for tuning into the Uncultured Podcast. I've been your host, Shauna K. Henson, lifestyle design coach, goal strategist, and corporate culture consultant. If this is your first time here, make sure you like, subscribe, and share this with somebody you know. If you're coming back for more, thanks so much for being here, and I hope that you'll tune in again. No matter what you're doing in your life, remember to make intentional choices, and wherever you are starting, remember that's not where you have to finish. Your life is yours alone, and your next dream is only one goal strategy away from getting exactly what you desire.